Hello there everyone, I'm Christina at CSLdesigns and today's video is going to be a haul video because I've recently been getting some new and interesting things that I can't wait to experiment with and play around with. So it's a mix of beads and findings and tools, so I just thought I would share them with you. So I thought I would start with one of the things that I'm most excited about, and it came in this little bag here, which is really cute. I think it's really cute with a little bow there. I've never actually seen an organza bag like this with a bow on. But inside of it, I have 3 bags here of some beads. They look like this, and what these are, they're actually hematite gemstone beads, but quite different than anything else that I have already. And I came across these quite a while ago, but then I wasn't really able to find them anywhere to buy them, except for not something that was kind of available to me, other countries and that, America. Just get a few out here. But then, finally, I was able to actually track them down. And I thought I have to get some then, to see what they're actually like, but then also to obviously experiment a little bit with. Now they're all the same basic bead, but just kind of basically different finishes. The last ones there, they look like this. So as you can see, they're all a mix of different colours between them. So you have the typical rainbow coating, you have the blue, you have the purple that you normally find on hematite gemstone beads. And then they just have different finishes. So we have the typical polished one here. That's really nice and really smooth as well. And then these ones here, they're just matte, which is also really nice, also one of my favorites. In the middle here, they're actually matte as well, but they're kind of faceted, so they give a completely different finish again. So I really like them all. That's why I kind of thought I had to get one bag of each instead of just trying one of them. It's because I quite liked all the different finishes there. Now, as you can probably tell, they're quite different in the shape, so they're not your regular rounds, because they're almost a bit like a donut shape from here, but it's almost a bit like a rondelle as well when you look at it like this. But they're also quite large, and the holes are also really large, which is kind of what attracted me to them. Because my thought was that, and what I want to experiment with is, I think it'd be really interesting to experiment basically using these for kumihimo, because they're so large, the holes, that you can get a lot of cords through. And I just thought it'd be fun to see how you can incorporate them into different braids, because you can get so many cords through this, while the bead is then still a main feature and basically sitting on the outside of the braid, or even get full braids through them as well. So that's why I kind of thought I wanted to try them and experiment a little bit with them. So they are kind of the typical charm beads that you can put on charm bracelets because the holes are so large. But obviously, you don't have to use them for that. So I just thought I wanted to experiment with it mainly with kumihimo, and I'll see what I come up with. Some other beads that I got are these ones here, and inside of this bag. Some beads, I already have some similar to it, but I wanted some different kinds and colours as well. So I found some finally. They were a little bit hard again to track down, the specific ones that I wanted. But finally I managed to find some, and I'm really happy with how they are. So the quality of them and the look of them. So they're resin rose beads, these. I already have a few like I mentioned, but in a couple of different sizes, but actually larger than this. But what I really wanted was some that was smaller, and it seemed quite hard to track down, but I finally did manage to find some. So these are actually 8mm ones, where the other ones I have are larger, and I wanted to try and find some that were smaller to incorporate into other designs, because the ones I have are more like 12, 15mm ones, so they're a little bit large sometimes. So these smaller ones, just get a few of them out, would fit into some more, because 8mm is a very common size I find that is used a lot in projects. Just get a few of the other colours out as well, because the red ones are my favourite. I think it's a really nice colour, that, and obviously it's kind of the typical rose colour. But I saw they had these colours as well, and I kind of thought, I'll just give them a try. You never really know until you actually see them in real life, because that's also sometimes with these kinds of beads, I'm a little bit hesitant, because sometimes the quality can be a little bit off. But I wanted them to give them a try. And also not just the red ones, and I saw the purple ones, and then these lighter ones as well. And then what I've seen when they've arrived is that obviously the red ones are nice, but actually these 3 colours go so well together, I think. So they'd be really nice in a project with just these colours together in that project. Would work really well and also be very feminine and delicate. Now I do have a specific project in mind, that's specifically with the red ones here that I'm going to be working on. But these ones are kind of more so I can actually experiment with them a little bit. And obviously the red ones, I did get 2 bags because I'm kind of figuring that I'll be using them the most. But I'm actually really glad that I got these, because first of all, like I said, the size is really nice. It's a smaller size, and they're actually really nice quality. So I like the way they look, both the roses themselves, the quality of the roses, but also just the quality of the beads there. So they're really well done. So I can't wait to experiment more with them, and obviously the actual project that I have in mind with the red ones. So then moving on to some of the findings that I got. So the first ones here are actually some belt buckles. So some blanks basically, because for quite a long time I wanted to do other stuff than just your typical bracelets, necklaces, earrings and rings as jewelry, but I also want to kind of branch out a bit more and do other accessory things. So more hair pieces, more things like this, obviously belts. I've had some ideas for a while, so especially with things like kumihimo and macrame, I think this will be really nice. So I thought, why not just get some blanks so I have them. And also these are pretty cheap, so it's just nice to experiment with. So look like that there. You can literally just then work from them. And obviously I have quite a few now, so they would last me a while. And I'm really curious about experimenting with that because I really would love to try and make some belts as well. Now speaking of wanting to do different kinds of accessories as well, I also got these that I haven't tried before. So these are some metal headband blanks. You can see they look like this here. So again, I have made head pieces, but I've never actually used these specific ones before. Obviously you can either wear them as they are, just use them here as a headband in themselves, but what I thought you could do obviously is basically attach things to them, or even work directly onto them and make something quite interesting and still make some kind of headband out of it, but have the base be this metal, which is obviously quite sturdy and substantial. So sticking with the hair theme, I also got some of these here, which I've also never used before. So these are some hair comb blanks, as you can see. The basic hair combs that you kind of place into your hair, but then you just get one out. You have this band on top where you can actually then attach things. So they're very commonly used for tiaras and things like that. And I got silver ones, obviously that's a good basic, but I also saw these black ones and I thought, why not get a few of them as well, just in case you wanted, maybe if you've got dark hair, that might work a little bit better to blend in more. So you can literally just attach things, or again maybe make things directly onto them. So I thought it'd be quite interesting to also experiment a little bit with that I also haven't tried before. So something else that I got recently that I want to try and start using for something quite different than I've done before are these ones here, and they're actually technically keychain blanks, we could call them. Just get a few out. So you have your large split ring, just like a keychain, but then you have your little, almost like a lost or claw clasp there, but quite a large one obviously. So perfect for keychains, but what my thought was to actually start to make bag charms as well, because I quite like the idea of that. Just having basically some jewelry on your bag as well. And I haven't really done much of that previously, so I thought that'd be quite interesting. And again, this is quite a large bag and I think they would last me quite a while, so I have plenty here to experiment with. So some other findings that I got recently that are quite new to me that I haven't really used before with these ones here. So basically the earring hoop blanks, you could call them. Let's just bring a few out. So they look like that. So basically you have a ring of metal as the base there, and you have some loops there where you can attach them to your earring findings, because I got an idea for a design in my mind where I needed something like this, so either something pre-bought like this, or you can obviously make your own rings as well, but I thought I would get these anyway, just again to experiment with and see what works, and it could make it a little bit easier instead of having to make them yourself. And again, there's quite a few in here, so I got enough to experiment with, obviously design in my head, but also for future designs. So I also got a new kind of cord that I haven't used before, because I have been thinking for a while that I want to branch out a little bit with the kind of cords that I'm using and try some different ones and see how they kind of react in that, than just my usual satin cord and Eslon, which I still love, so I haven't changed my mind about them, but I just would really like to try some other kinds as well. So this is what it's like. So this is actually a nylon cord and it's also waxed, so obviously I have those kind of cords already, but it is quite different still. So even though it's still a nylon cord and so is Eslon, this is quite different from Eslon. And obviously I kind of just had to try and start with the purple one there. And also, what I found interesting with this, you also get a lot on there. So there's 260 meters, which is obviously going to last quite a while, you would think. And it's a 1mm thickness. So I'm also quite curious to see how this is going to end up result-wise in a project rather than the usual cords that I use. Now then, as for tools, this is a new one that I got recently, and it's more kind of just a bit for fun, because there's so many tools out there that you can really just get lost in a jungle, and they all do something quite specific usually. But this one I kind of thought was a little bit interesting. So it's actually the wire crinkler tool. So basically you have this little bit down here where you can put your wire in. You can change these little nodules out and put your wire in, and it'll kind of crinkle it or shape it for you. Obviously there's other things like mandrels and pliers that you can probably do that as well, but I just kind of thought it'd be kind of fun to try this out. So I already have an idea or two about some jewelry to make with it, but really mainly it's just to kind of try and experiment a little bit with and play around with and see the effects and results that you can get. Now the next thing I got is quite different. It's not something you'd normally associate with jewelry making, but it's actually some fabric dye here, and I just obviously chose this purple colour because of course it's purple. So for now I've just started with one because what I plan to do is I've had an idea in my head for a long time of something I've been wanting to experiment with, and obviously I don't know yet if it's going to work out. So if it does work out, I do want to get loads of other colours as well, but if it doesn't, I didn't want to get all the colours before knowing it's going to work out, and basically if it doesn't work out then waste a load of money, because these aren't really that cheap. They're quite expensive normally, but thankfully we have a hobby shop here in the UK that had a half price sale on, so I got this for half price. So I thought we'd start with this one. And like I said, if it works out, I'll definitely want to get some other colours as well, because I think that could be quite interesting. Now it is jewelry making related, what I'm going to use it for or try anyway. And I'm going to try it out. So if it does work out, I'm definitely going to come back and let you know. So that was in my haul of some new and interesting things that I found recently, and I can't wait to play around with them. So if you don't want to miss any future videos and tutorials from me, then make sure you subscribe and also hit the notification bell. Otherwise, I really hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching it, and I'll see you in the next one.